Hey guys, welcome to Cult Fiction. We've got a different kind of episode today. We've seen some success from a couple of movies that have come out recently. Inside Out 2 has been great, and Deadpool and Wolverine was great for anybody who saw it. But there has been a sea of turds, as Bueller put it. A bunch of sewer trouts, a bunch of garbage that's been coming out lately. Today is going to be the crap episode where we're going to talk about all the garbage. And I think of these shows, I don't think any of us have seen any of them.
Well, one
In
of them
fact, a couple of
actually.
them aren't even out yet. But we just know that they're going to be garbage. So we're going to be talking about really crappy stuff. But first, before we start talking about crappy stuff, we're going to go to Eric because he's got some new comics that he got graded, and I think he talked about these in a previous episode, actually. Right? Take it from here, sir.
Right. So I got some stuff from Whatnot, and I decided that I wanted to take several things to SDCC to grade because I like to hand it in to the guys because I'm too much of a wuss to like
Right.
send it. Bueller's Bueller's done that,
Yeah,
and even I get texts from him like anxiety.
bro, it's nerve-wracking, man.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
send your comics across the country and just hope they arrive.
I sent one during I didn't realize it, but like right after I sent it, one of the hurricanes hit, and I was like, oh,
that
man. And it got slowed down. Like obviously I can't, there's nobody to blame for that, but like you're sitting here, my Gambit comics are like my babies, and I'm like, oh God, oh God. Like I sent my Gambit gold foil #1 edition
oil.
and
Yeah,
one edition, both of those at the same time, and they got stuck during a hurricane, dude. I was tripping badly.
Mm.
right. So I hand them in. I'm like, here, like please take care of them. So this first one was one I got at a local comic shop. This is probably my only mistake of sending in, just because I knew it wasn't going to grade well. It probably should be just a reader comic. I got it done only because of X-Men '97, and this is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, and it graded at a 6.5, which is not good.
Mm.
Which is for a comic that's from 1987. Like 6.5 is fine if it's 1971 or 1967 or something. 6.5 is fine. But for 1987, the person who had this did not really take care of it that well. So this probably should have just been a reader copy. This probably should have just been a copy of, that I just kept around and read. I could probably get like a 9.0 or something for like $125 or something like that. But that's whatever. It's fine. This one I got at a comic shop in Sonora, either Sonora or Murphy's, and I was actually kind of surprised by the grade on this one. It looked rougher than this, but it cleaned up quite well. And it's the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon,
Oh,
and it came
nice.
out as a 7.5. So
Nice.
I was pretty
Very
happy
cool.
about that. I actually thought this one was going to be more like a 6.5. I was pretty confident that one was going to be a 6.5 or maybe even like a 5.5 or something. This one being a 7.5 was kind of a surprise. Now for two of the Whatnot ones. This one is the second appearance of the Black Suit Spider-Man. If you go back to one of our previous videos, I said that I thought that this one could probably be like an 8.5 or a 9. That's what I was hoping for. If you remember this comic, I don't know
Right.
if you guys remember.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
It came back 9.2.
Very nice.
So I was pretty right on that one. I looked at it. I was like, yeah, this one's probably a 9. Came back 9.2. So I'm even very excited about that one. This one was the Death of Stick. I think you guys remember that one. This is also I got from a Whatnot auction. This was Daredevil 189. I thought this could be like a 9.2. This one came back 9.6.
Wow.
I was very happy about that. I looked at it and when I saw it live, I was like, yeah, this thing is in good shape. And then the last one was my Lethal Protector, Venom #1 Lethal Protector. That's the one I showed you guys at the house when we were. And I was like, this thing's minty as fuck. So, and that one came back. Of course.
Wow. Look at that.
Now,
Wow.
this is the only one from my collection. This is like, so I've had this one for 31 years, and yeah, this one came. This one
took really
this
good
one was
care of it. That's good.
this one was minty as shit. The guys will tell you, I'm not even positive I read that. That's how minty. I'm not. That thing's been cracked open, to be 100% honest. But yeah, 9.8 was. I was kind of expecting that. I'd almost been disappointed if it wasn't. So I have two more. I have two more out. I have Silver Surfer number 50 with a Ron Lim signature, waiting for it to be PSA, like the signature to be authenticated. And then I have Deadpool's first appearance, New Mutants 98, also with waiting to get PSA signature authenticated with Rob Liefeld's signature. So those are the two I'm waiting for. It's taking a little bit longer because the signatures have to get authenticated. So we'll see. I'm hoping that the 50, Silver Surfer 50 will come back 9698. I have no idea about the
Deadpool.
The Deadpool. I would think 990 plus. I did send it in to get like cleaned and pressed. I feel like it had, if I could say there was one thing about it, was it had kind of a spine roll. It's kind of hard to explain. If anybody, I don't know, Bueller, if you know what I mean, has a spine roll where it's like the back page is showing a little bit on the front.
Oh yeah.
You know, if that makes sense. I can't remember if the back page is showing on the front or if the front page is showing a little bit on the back. I'm not really sure. But it has a bit of a spine roll. I'm not sure how much they dock on that, but if it's considerable, it could be, I'm hoping for 9+. Let's just
right. Well, let us know when they come in and we'll take a look.
I'll let you know.
Cool.
We'll see.
All right, on
Okay.
to the shit.
Eric,
onto the garbage.
I got it. Eric,
yes.
Sorry, man. Hey, Eric, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, like, your level of passion on like, no. I know I'm not talking smack. Like your level of passion on this and on like, I don't know if I'm supposed to call them toys or not. I don't know. But like, dude, like it is so. It's like a sommelier talking about a fine wine, dog. It is sure. Like when you go to a Scotch tasting and like, there's this big, robust Scotsman and you can't understand a word that he says, but he just keeps telling you to drink. Like, dude, I don't care at all about comics. I don't care at all. Like, not zero. You make me interested. I would just watch it for your. That's all I gotta say. I would watch it for your passion. That's it. That's all.
Speaking of toys, I did get a sideshow. What's it called? Like a wait list. What do they call it? Like a rollover. So if a toy goes, or a figure or a statue, whatever, goes waitlisted because it's sold out, you can be put on a wait list, and then you'll get an email if somebody's canceled the order, and you get an opportunity to get one. So I converted. That's right. I converted a wait list yesterday for an Iron Man armor. So that'll be good. It's it was
it's a sideshow.
Yeah, no, it's a hot toy.
Hot toy.
It's a yeah, but it's from Sideshow. It's a Sideshow exclusive, black and gold Mark 7. I think it's a limited edition. Excuse me. So it sold out relatively quickly, and I didn't get a chance to get my hands on it. And so when I got the email yesterday, I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Let's do it. Let's convert it. So that should be coming. We'll see. And then if I like it, cool. If I don't like it, I'll sell it.
There you go. That's the nice thing about those toys. Yeah. All right, let's hit the shit, as they say. We've got 4 things we want to talk about today real quick. We're going to go around the table. We're going to talk about the Acolyte. and how this
Yeah.
garbage show was canceled. Thank goodness. We're going to talk about Borderlands. We're going to talk about the new Crow, and we're going to talk about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So let's start with the Acolyte. And if you've watched our show, you've seen us. We've already talked about this show for like 3 episodes. The great irony is that if they were, so they canceled it. They're not going to do a second season. Am I right? Like they put an end to
Right.
this garbage. But the real thing, the real irony is that if they were to put out a second season, we would watch it, even though we hate
Well, at
it.
least 4.
Right? Well, 4 of us would. Yeah, I guess wouldn't watch it.
Nah.
But we would watch it even though we hate it. I don't know.
Right.
So I don't know. The fact that they canceled it means people that love Star Wars are still not going to watch it. So I don't know. What do you think,
Well,
Bueller? Is it good? Or Eric, why don't you start?
Well, I think that's what was happening, was that people who love Star Wars weren't watching it. I think that's what it boils down to. It just wasn't getting that many hours. I think they tried to, word of the day, gaslight people into thinking that like the premiere was really, really good.
Right.
I think the issue was that the premiere had 2 episodes, and so they were like, look at all this, look at all these hours streamed. And it's like, well, because it was 2 episodes compared to maybe like 1 episode of this show or 1 episode of that show or whatever. So I'm not sure. I think they were trying to cook the book like from the beginning.
By releasing
Because
2
it wasn't-
episodes, you're saying, so they had twice the.
Well, no, I think they were cooking the books with the numbers and using their proxies in the media to like make it seem like these numbers were these, it was massively successful. And the reality is cut it in half because it was 2 episodes. So this massively successful number, actually, if you cut it in half, it was probably marginally successful, but you kept trying to make it like it was this huge success. But by the time you started coming out by 1 episode at a time, by the end, I want to say by episode 4, 5, and 6, it was dropping out of the Nielsen ratings, however they're doing that, whatever, and it didn't come back on until the finale, because people, I guess, wanted to see how it hit, or some people like maybe Paul just waited to the end and just knocked them all out at once.
Right.
Watched it all or whatever.
Man.
So I think there was this this push to make it seem like it was bigger, and I don't know. I really don't know. This goes to a conversation Jubal and I were having, is like, you've got Agatha coming, and I had a conversation with a friend of mine who works for Disney, and he's doing production, and because of the strength of Inside Out and Deadpool, productions are picking back up again. There was kind of a lull at the beginning of the year when everything was getting canceled and all this kind of stuff, but now it's starting to pick back up. And he asked me, he's like, how do you think Agatha's going to do? And I said, well, I think they were right to put it in October. That was probably the smartest move. It's witches, and it has a little Evil Deadness to it. That was probably the smartest move, not to put it in spring or something. But, it's probably not going to get a ton of ratings,
I mean,
now,
if it's good, it will.
Yeah, good. And if it's good, it might. I think even if it's good, it's going to get low ratings because the interest level in the character itself is very low. So it's going to have to be really good, and, recent history has shown that's not the case. Now contrast that to Daredevil. And like I said, put me on record. Daredevil will be one of the 3 biggest shows ever on Disney Plus. And when I say the 3 biggest, arguably it'll be number 1 or 2.
Right.
And the only thing, if anything keeps it from 1 or 2, it'll be like one of the seasons of Mandalorian or something like that.
Right.
But Daredevil will be one of the 3 biggest shows ever on Disney. This is what I'm not understanding about Disney is this is the difference. You're giving us Agatha, and you're going to have to fight for an audience. Or you could give us Daredevil, and the audience will fall over themselves to come to you. And, you know, there was that whole thing, and I think maybe we've talked about it in the past, and Alex and I have talked about it, where they initially made Daredevil, the 9 episodes, and there was talk about them killing him off and replacing him with like a female Daredevil and all this kind of stuff. That was the thinking and stuff. And it's like you get this property from Netflix, and Daredevil season 2 was at the time the biggest show in the history of Netflix until it got passed by, you know, a season of 13 Reasons Why or Stranger Things or whatever. But at the time, biggest thing on Netflix history. And then you get it Disney Plus and you fucking try to kill it. That's what people don't understand.
That's crazy.
That's what people don't get about what's going on with Disney. Is you have arguably the biggest property that you've ever got from somewhere else. You know, like you got it back from Netflix. It was the biggest thing in Netflix. And then you immediately tried to kill the main character and install a female Daredevil. What are you doing? It's insanity.
It is insanity. It's crazy. I have no defense. I don't even know what to say about that. But as far as the Acolyte goes, Gus, did you ever watch any of it?
I watched 2.
Oh, that's right.
2.
You watched 2 and just walked away from it, and that was the smartest thing. You were the smartest one here.
I was really sad.
Right.
When I saw that they canceled it, I was really sad.
Were you?
No, I was sad. Like I didn't hold a memorial. I didn't light any candles. I didn't pray for its soul. But I was sad because what I want is I want Disney to keep wrecking the Star Wars franchise. And I want them to keep wrecking all of the cultural heritage that we have. I want them to keep wrecking it. So eventually they lose enough money because they are violating their fiduciary responsibility where they stop and they shelve all the shit and they fire all the people that keep telling them, oh, this is a good idea. They shelve everything for like 20 years and they put a fucking moratorium on it. They're like, don't touch Star Wars for 20 fucking years so everyone forgets that we fucked it up for like 20 years. And the same thing with all of the other shit. I'll get to the other shit later on in the episode, but I was bummed. Not teary, but I was like, damn.
You wanted them to release a show that would hurt them. That's what you wanted.
I want them to keep hurting themselves to hit rock bottom and take their medicine and go to like diversity, equity, and equality anonymous. Like when they have to go to like, hi, I'm a race hustler and I hate myself. My name's fucking Disney.
All right.
That's what I want to fucking hear.
There you go. Alex, are you surprised that Acolyte was canceled?
No, it's just, I mean, we've talked about it, like all the problems with it. So it's not really even a shock that it's not going back. I mean, when you look at how expensive it was.
It was the most expensive.
$200 million.
Yeah.
And nobody cares, really. Like, I've talked to a couple of people that were like, okay, you know, like Paul, like, oh, yeah, they enjoy it. But nobody cares. That's the problem.
Right.
And it's just like, so, yeah. I mean, that's what happens. You spend $200 million making a crap show and it gets canceled. I mean, nobody should be surprised. It's you know, and it's just, there's nothing really else to say. It's like they made a piece of crap and it got canceled.
Yeah, that's about it. Bueller, what do you got to say?
You know, it's weird to listen to this and try to think of like something different, so I don't just, you know, rehash the same points you guys are making. But I don't understand how you can look at shows. Like, I get why shows get canceled for the most part, low viewership and a high budget, and the numbers don't work out. So that makes total sense. What I don't understand and what doesn't lend to this argument is how beloved shows don't end up getting a second season, where people are totally invested in it and then it gets canceled and people are like, why did that show get canceled? The show is dope. And it's a common trope you see online, people talking about, mainly Netflix. Will put out a season of something and then it'll get canned. And a lot of the vocal people were like, that was a really good show. Why did it get canceled? And so then I look at something like The Acolyte, where it makes sense that it gets canceled because it was like Eric would say, it was water. It was just there. There was no investment in it as far as the viewer goes. I'm not a Star Wars guy, so I'm not going to get a lot of the hatred for it as far as the Star Wars lore goes. But as far as somebody who likes to watch TV to be entertained, I was just okay. It
Right.
wasn't engaging. It wasn't like, oh my God, I can't wait till next week's episode. Not a single episode left me going. I can't wait to see what happens next week. And then when it was done, I was like, okay, I guess that was it. So that not getting a second season doesn't bother me like at all, like not even a tiny, tiny bit. So by saying that, like I don't get the behind the scenes stuff of what warrants a second season and what doesn't, especially when there's a finite amount of subscribers you can get for any of these subscription services. Like you can't just create more subscribers out of nowhere. There's only 8 billion people on the planet, you know, and you're going to run out of subscribers at some point in time. So how do you keep generating revenue? I don't know. Aside from raising the prices, I don't really understand that. And so a lot of it behind the scenes is above my head, and I don't really care to research it, honestly. But I'll tell you this right now: when it does get canceled, and then people are like, "Oh, it was the toxic fan base and blah blah blah." It's like you're the ones who said if you don't like it, don't watch, and that's what you got. You said if you don't like it, don't watch, and that's what happened. And you got a lot of people that were hate watching it because they heard all this stuff was going to happen and they were waiting for it to happen. And we know from watching the entire thing that a lot of that stuff didn't pan out. It wasn't as gloom and doom as people said it was going to be in the beginning. So people just kept hate watching it to see if it was going to, and never did. So they still got some of the Star Wars fandom watching it, and hopefully some of that Star Wars fandom realized like, oh, it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as terrible as I expected. So they still got fans watching it. And then they blame the toxic fan base for getting canceled. No, it's because the show wasn't good. You got to take a step back and look at it and be like, we didn't do a good job with this. How do we fix it? And that goes to Gus, where like I'm gonna, be a little conspiracy theorist here too. And maybe it's not a conspiracy, maybe it's true, maybe I'm going crazy. But man, does it feel like as a 45-year-old dude watching this kind of stuff that I was watching, that we were all watching when we were much younger, that their behind the scenes stuff is really trying to force this narrative on us, and we don't want it, but they just keep hammering at us, hammering at us to have this. We'll get to it with Rings of Power and stuff, like shit that we don't want in our shows. We didn't want in the shows when we were 15. We didn't want it when we were 25. We don't want it at 45, 50 years old. Stop trying to force feed it to us. If you want to create a new generation of people that want this stuff that you're putting in the narrative, then do that. Don't fuck up your fan base. You're not going to hit us over the head until we're stupid and have us wake up one day and be like, oh, you know what? That was a really good idea. It's not. It's not a good fucking idea for us. We're set in our ways. We're 50 fucking years old.
I think that's the thing that like I was starting to diagnose the issue wrong. Jewel mentioned it's and I thought it was one thing, and then the thing that Jewel said was, what they want is to let you know that the thing that you like is wrong. Like you're not supposed to like that thing anymore.
Totally,
you're supposed to like this.
I totally get that, and what they don't understand with that is that we don't give a fuck.
Right.
Right. And I'm hoping through this through this epic amount of bombs that have happened, whether it's TV cancellations or bombs, and then things like Wolverine and Deadpool, like look what happens when
hugely
you get
successful.
what they want. Hugely successful, $1.3 billion almost, right? So you give people what they want, and ta-da, you make money, right? So I'm hoping that that's like the people, the higher ups, will start coming down on these decision makers in middle management who seem to have this almost ideological bend of like, I want to change what society likes. You like this archetype, you like this thing. I don't want you to like this thing anymore. I want you to like this thing. And the thing is people keep telling them, I don't give a fuck what you think I like or what you think I should like. I like what I like.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that's going to come to an end. But until I see like a consistent string of it, I don't think it's going to. Like, so for example, you talked about Lord of the Rings, right? I believe there's a new Lord of the Rings animated movie coming out, right? That's coming out pretty soon. I don't know if any of you have seen this. So I saw a video of this. Who's the guy who did? It's escaping me at the moment. Peter Jackson, right?
Right.
Peter Jackson is the guy who did the original Lord of the Rings, and so he's doing this. He's doing this Lord of the Rings. It's called Lord of the Rings War of
Rorarim.
Right. So I was watching the trailer for this. And it was all Peter Jackson and all this. I'm like, okay, nice. And I'm watching it, and then at the end, and then you get about like 2/3 of the way through, and you realize it's just a vehicle for a girl boss human to kick everyone's ass and win the day. And she's not an elf, and she's not anything, so she's just a human. And sorry, she's just a human, dude. Stop. Like, stop going after these, like, this mythical, like, female fan that you think is going to just spurn the riches. Like, you're gonna sit on a mound of gold like Smaug once you get to this mythical female fan. It doesn't fucking exist. Like, there are female fans, but it's never going to be this 50-50 thing that you think it is. And it's like, so I just don't understand why you just don't cater to the people who brought you to the fucking dance. The people who have made this IP like one of the biggest IPs the world has ever known. And now you're going to turn it into what, another girl boss vehicle? Cool. Guess who's not going to watch it now? Me. Cool.
You know,
I kind of get it to an extent, and I know we got to
automatically thought it again.
But I kind of get it to an extent because, I mean, like I said, we're all in a certain age group and a certain demographic, and we've all been conditioned to like what we like at this point in time. And they're not gonna change our course. It's just not gonna happen. So they're obviously, in my opinion, they're planting the seed in future generations to hope to steer the course differently 30 years from now, and it's not going to pay off anytime soon. So
it's not going to. See, that's the thing, is I don't think it's going to pay off ever, because the fact of the matter is Furiosa proved that, in my opinion, because Furiosa's audience was even more male than Road Warrior, Fury Road's audience. So even women want to see strong male characters. So yes, there are women who want to see strong female characters, and there are men who want to see strong female characters. We like strong female characters if they're done correctly.
I think
we just don't need to see strong female characters pick up fucking William Wallace's sword and cut people in half.
Right. I think that there's a difference between in what a strong female character should be or what a strong male character should be, right? The idea that like in that show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where May, the 80-pound Asian girl, would show up and like work everybody over, right, and just beat up all like the 250-pound bikers in the room. That's a trope that gets a little old. It's like, I'm already suspending belief on so many levels, and now you want me to believe that an 80-pound Asian girl is going to beat up all these guys? Come on. But like you take somebody like Helen Mirren or Glenn Close, they have never played a weak character. Judi Dench has never played a weak character ever in her career, right? So like what defines a strong female character and what defines a strong male character are different things. And I think that there's a loss of appreciation for that by people who think that equality means sameness.
Just like it means kicking ass or something.
Right.
And what they don't realize is when you do that, you make being a man the default human experience. It's like you're actually being like sexist in a way.
Right.
Like you're trying to say the only way
by trying to say that women have to be like men or they're not strong.
Exactly.
Right.
You have to be like
garbage.
Or you're not strong. No, you can be feminine, you can be a woman, and you can have these traits of women and be strong and powerful.
Right. So we're getting way off course here,
Yeah.
but to
Yeah.
So
segue.
that's what we think about Star Wars Acolyte.
Right. Right. So,
Well, that was, but that whole show was about that dumb bullshit
it's
too.
true. No, you're right. You're right. And so the perfect segue. Let's talk about now Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Because I think that this is an example of a similar situation. Although I have to say, the trailer that I saw, I'm sure you guys have all seen the trailer, with the animated dwarves look really bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
Right.
They look like
they had to pivot at the last moment.
Right.
Animated Seven Dwarfs.
My understanding is that Peter Dinklage came out and said something, and it made them completely have to recreate the movie. But I'm not quite sure. Like, I listened to what he said, and I'm not quite sure. I think maybe they took it wrong, right?
I mean, I remember him saying basically that, it's like kind of regressing the progress that little people have made to have Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because it's like you're portraying dwarves and little people as like backwards miners living in a hut somewhere, and it's just sort of like, okay. But like at the time, they had released like some behind the scenes shot that looked like it wasn't going to be seven dwarves. It looked like it was going to be like the seven diverse minorities or something.
Right, seven
Because
regular people.
They had one midget, and then they had like a 7 foot tall black woman, and then they had all these big, and it's just like, that's weird. What are they doing? And there was like so much negative publicity about that I think, anyway, and I can't prove it, that they suddenly pivoted to, well, no, we're actually going to be doing dwarves, but now they can't hire dwarves or little people because of what Dinklage said.
Right.
So they have to at the last minute do this CGI monstrosities.
My understanding was that Dinklage said, okay, you cast a Latina girl as Snow White. Cool. Like, be diverse, do your thing. But then you've got seven little people living in a cave together. Like, what are you doing? Like, you got to pick the right message. And so Disney reacted to that by going, oh my God, we got to take all the actual little people out of this movie. Right. I don't know. It seemed like an overreaction to me. Bueller, have you been following it at all?
Yeah, and I'm trying to look some stuff up now. And the initial casting with Peter Dinklage's comment, they weren't going to be dwarfs. They were going to use
just regular people. Yeah.
Yeah. So they weren't going to be dwarfs at all. Peter Dinklage made his comment 2 years ago.
Mhm.
2 years ago. So I don't know when this decision was actually made, but they were going to use like a diverse group of just regular dudes instead of dwarves. And then there were actually dwarf actors that came out, and I don't know how this timeline works with Peter Dinklage, but dwarf actors came out and were like, dude, it's hard enough for us to get jobs.
Right.
They're jobs away from us to give it to regular dudes.
Yeah.
And so Disney was
Not
just
everybody could do Game of Thrones.
yeah, so Disney's just digging their hole deeper and deeper. And then they made the abomination of the computer animated dwarfs that we have now that are coming out. And then we haven't touched on this yet, but the actress has also said, and we'll see what pans out, but the actress has said that there is no Prince Charming in this movie. It's a story about women's empowerment, and there's no Kiss Awake, there's no Prince Charming, there's none of that stuff.
Right. That's the thing I wanted to say before we started talking about Peter Dinklage, going back to like the last thing of like what makes you strong. So there's the famous song in the first one where she's talking to the woodland creatures, and she's just like, hey, you're gonna sweep the floor, and you're gonna do the dishes, stuff like that, and I'm gonna do this to tidy up the house while the guys are whistling while they work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this version, she's handing the fucking broom to the dwarf. She's telling the other dwarf to wash the dishes. She's telling the other dwarf to wash the clothes. So here you have a woman who is now like you're in their home. They're feeding you.
Freeloader.
You're a complete freeloader at this point. But that's empowerment, right? So now you can't even make a meal. You can't even clean their house for the fact that you're living at their house for free and eating their food for free, and and maybe even under their protection for free. So they have to do it because that's what that's empowerment.
That's
right?
what the politics demands. But let's just, you know, I'll tell you what. Let's wait until the movie actually comes out and we watch it before we start criticizing
No,
what
but
happens in it.
online where knowing this happens, and it's just like that's, to me, that's everything that's wrong with society. This is how you get like the stupidity of today, where you have these people who are just like who just think these absolutely backwards way of thinking. Like, it's not, she is not a servant by sweeping the floor and making dinner for people who have taken her in and put a roof over her head.
Sure.
That's weird, man.
How much you want to bet
You
it's
know?
going to be something along the lines of she's teaching them how to take care of themselves, and it's going to be her
Oh, I'm
teaching
sure.
how,
Yeah.
giving them lesson.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to we'll judge
We'll
it
have
when
to
we come to it.
wait and see, but I'm throwing out a guess there that having them clean up everything is just going to be like, oh, well, I'm showing you how to be responsible for yourselves.
Well, Gus, you got any
Yeah.
you got any predictions on what we're going to see in the Seven Dwarves movie?
So, I haven't seen. I know a little bit about like the film, if that's what we want to call it. But like, here's my jam on replacing dwarves or whatever, or little people, or the term du jour, and rewriting all of the fairy tales. Because I'm really, really into fairy tales. Like, so the original Cinderella is not the one that we saw ever. Like, or no, not Cinderella. Sorry, Snow White. It's, if you read, it's an Italian one. I'm not even going to talk about the shit that goes down because it's fucking dark as fuck. But like, no, it's real deal.
The original
don't
fairy
have it.
tale. Yeah.
Yeah, the Brothers Grimm stuff, they're all dark, and they were all
Sure.
Disneyized.
But
Yeah.
like the thing is that, like, taking out, like, what I find when I watch a lot of the Disney fairy tales, like the old ones, right, is that like people accomplish things despite their disabilities, right? Like the dwarves helped Snow White. You know, they worked in the mines. There's this rumor that whistle while you work was after this thing that you couldn't talk when you were working in the factories, so people would whistle as a form of protest. I looked it up. I couldn't fact check it, but it sounds, I heard a program on it and it sounded fair, but like, you know, the dwarves help her despite them being dwarves, right? Gus the mouse on Cinderella organizes all the other mice despite having a fucking mother's apron potbelly at a speech impediment, right? Like, I mean, so it's like to always be sanitizing that, like, where it's like you look at it and you're like, whoa, you know. So I'm just done with, like, we live in a real world, right? Some of us are tall, some of us are good looking, some of us have alpha jaws, some of us are short and fat and whatever. We all have a part to play. That's all I got to say. So Disney, keep on keeping on with your bullshit, because you're going to lose some fucking money and you're going to shelve all the shit and come to Jesus. Get fucked.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth. All right. Real quick around the table for The Crow. I have to say, I don't know anything about it. I like the first one. I don't know anything about this one. It's been getting panned across the board. Anybody know anything about it? Anybody want to say anything
I know
about it?
from my understanding is the first like 30 minutes or 45 minutes of the movie are about his girlfriend who was like a junkie prostitute, and they meet in rehab. And that's like the first 45 minutes of the movie. So, you know, he picked a winner. And that's who he comes back for, is like a junkie prostitute. And I guess at some point in the movie, spoiler, but like he actually learns that the whole time, oh shit, she was a junkie prostitute. Maybe she's not worth it. And so I don't even know how that works in a Crow movie, but like he learns that, yeah, she's not worth it, even though he wants.
Strange.
I don't know. It looks like garbage. Everything I've heard about it sounds like garbage. I like Bill Skarsgård though.
Yeah.
I think he's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
actor. But I wish he had done something else with his time other than this movie, because it will not be seen by me. I actually went back and I watched the original Crow a couple of days ago because I was like, hey, you know, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and it holds up surprisingly well. You know, there's some pretty dodgy effects, obviously. But as far as like presentation and story and everything,
Yeah, I might have to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a few years. I'll check it out.
yeah, it's definitely worth watching.
Anybody else got something to say about the new Crow that sucks?
One reviewer says The Crow more like cold turkey. This crap isn't even good enough for the birds.
Wow.
No.
That's a review that's worse than the movie. That's amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
The Crow is well, real quick. The movie The Crow is one of those untouchable things, and it's because Brandon Lee died during it, and
Right.
it remain untouched. Unless you're going to do it justice and pay tribute to it, which is
Right.
exactly what they didn't do in this movie by reimagining it and basically making it uh, Joker Part 2 of what a Folie à Deux or whatever it is. And it's like a super similar setup. Like watching the trailers, like Alex was saying, you know, you have the Crow meeting his love in the rehab center, and then you got Joker meeting Harlequin in prison. Like watch these two trailers get intermingled in my head because I watched them both so long ago that I can't remember which movie is which. And I'm not saying that the Joker 2 is bad. What I'm saying is the plot line for The Crow is bad. And so I'm probably not going to see it. I don't have a lot of high hopes for it. It's another turd in the bucket, dude.
Right.
I mean, it seems like one of the big problems they did is they tried to expand the plot of The Crow when
He just said it's
just
another turd in the bucket. That's hella funny. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, I forgot.
I don't even know where that came from, but I'm keeping it. A stand by it.
Yeah, basically the same as Alex. Pretty dumb. Like to make her a junkie and a prostitute. It's like these like, and you spend he's in the original movie. It basically opens with essentially them getting killed.
Yeah.
You know? So
right.
he's the Crow for damn near the entire movie.
Right.
Right. In this movie, it sounds like he's the Crow for like the last 30 minutes of the movie. And so there's basically there's the proverbial like two real big fight scenes. The first one where he like kind of, it doesn't go so well and he's like, well, what am I doing wrong? You know? And then like the second one where he gets his shit together and like wins the day, you know? That's it. And dog shit. And then
Dog
of course,
shit,
and
yeah.
then I just have such an issue with like, oh, the love story of the junkie prostitute. Get fucked. Get fucked. Get fucked. That's
Wow.
sorry.
And
Dude,
then
you know how
needed
many
rehab.
you know how many
Right,
fucking
right.
junkie, you know how many junkie white trash like people I've known in my life? You know? They don't strike me as romantic. They don't.
Yeah, that's the whole
They
thing
don't.
about being a junkie. Gus,
Yeah.
any interest in chiming in on this one, or is it just off your radar entirely? What do you think?
First flick, I don't know anything about it other than Brandon Lee died. I don't even know who Brandon is other than Bruce. I don't know about flick and whatever.
There you go.
Don't and like
You've
Joe
seen the
said,
original
you said
Crow movie, right?
No,
No,
yeah.
I never
Oh,
seen.
remember we lost him.
No, you never saw.
Joe said it was like right, like a classic flick, right? Just
It's-
goes along with right.
It was
Goes along
good.
with
It was good. It wasn't great. It was good.
stop
I saw it in
touching.
the movie theater.
Yeah, I think Joe hit it on the head. It's like, you know, Brandon Lee died during the making of that movie. And that's sort of a big deal. And like it's you shouldn't mess with it unless you're going to pay homage to it. You know what I mean? That's just I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that, Mr. Bueller. Okay, last one around the table for Borderlands. I'm going to start this off because I just want to say I have sunk hundreds of hours into the Borderlands video games. I love the Borderlands video games. All right. And I had zero interest in this movie from day one. None. No interest in seeing it. They just did not capture anything about the games in the movie. I don't know whose decision it was to put Cate Blanchett in as the lead. She is so much better. She's like, it's like, why would you put her in a movie like this? You know what I'm saying? It just does. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all. And then the guy who played Roland is like the comic relief dude. If you
Kevin
play
Hart.
the video
Kevin
game
Hart,
for
yeah.
2 minutes, you realize that Roland is like the serious part of the game, keeps it together. Tiny Tina, I don't know. They cast some girl in it that didn't understand the character at all. Whatever, and you could tell all of that just from the trailer. Whatever. So not interested. Garbage. Who else has something to say about Borderlands?
I mean,
Yeah, but
go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm on same boat as you. Like when I played the game so many times, and it's like once Eli Roth was attached as director, like I was just kind of like, it's a weird property to do anyway. But then Eli Roth has hit the hat and like produced nothing but garbage. I mean,
Right.
he's made some of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. Like I watched Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves, man. That movie is such dog shit, and it's like it reminds you of something that in the last few years, like 4 or 5 years, Keanu Reeves has become like one of the most loved people to have ever existed, right? They're like, yes, like he's awesome, but it reminds you that he's a terrible actor, and he always has been, and he always will be, and people forget that, but it's fucking true.
He is
The
a bad actor.
Borderlands, man, I want to know what the conversation was that got Kate Blanchett to do this movie, because I don't know the angle that they could have like sold her. It wasn't going to be a script. It wasn't going to be like, oh, it's based on a cool video game, and we have this director who's done nothing but like hack dog shit for the last 20 years. How did they get in? It's like they must have a vid of her like sucking Trump's dick or something. Because I do not. Like how? Like how would she do this
No,
movie?
that's what I want to know. Like if I knew how to convince Kate Blanchett to do a movie like this, I could rule the world.
And I know she's never done any other like complete
Trash
shit products.
I can't think of anything. Yeah. I don't know. She must have known somebody. Her nephew was like the best boy or something. I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Like you got a family member.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
I bet you're right. I bet that's it.
Some
I bet
bullshit.
That's it, exactly.
What a shame. What a shame. Even Kate Blanchett couldn't save it.
Yeah.
Anybody else on Borderlands want to chime in?
So Kate Blanchett said that she was starring in the movie as a way to escape the COVID madness of quarantine.
Oh, so she was just looking for anything.
Anything.
Dude.
She's like, I got to get out of the house. I got a free weekend. Let's make a movie.
I think
it's like, I'm gonna do this one.
I think she was an actress on Ragnarok or something like that. I don't even know. I don't know this bitch. But anybody who was suffering that bad during COVID that needed to make, like when I saw the trailer of this hot garbage, I was like, I was a little drunk and I thought it was a parody making fun of all the bullshit movies that they make. And then I saw Kevin Hart, who I hate, and I was like, oh fuck. And then I saw that one who's an asshole, that one broad with the Adam's apple and like the extra chromosome. And I was like, oh, that bitch, this isn't a parody. And then but I just love Kate Blanchett now because she was like, I gotta get out of the fucking house.
Yeah.
Like it's the first Hollywood person that sounded human talking about COVID fucking ever.
Right. I liked her in Ragnarok, by the way. I thought she was good.
Dude,
I liked her in Ragnarok.
She was hot as hell. I was a fan.
So this is the only thing that we're covering that I actually am. I'm probably going to watch eventually. I actually do want to see this. I don't expect it to be that good. I expect it to be like mildly funny with some action in it.
Right.
I like Kevin Hart. I like Jack Black. It looks like kind of like a, like if you ordered Guardians of the Galaxy from Wish, or Team or something like that, and that's what I expect out of it. And that's what I expect out of it. I think that the reason it did poorly at the box office is probably for the exact reason that Jubal said. So it's another thing where they made a movie for nobody.
Right.
Why
didn't you talk to, like, how hard is it to find 10 Borderlands fans?
Right.
And just ask them what kind of movie you should make. You know what I mean?
You're talking about a franchise that's probably, at this point between the the various incarnations of the game, sold 100 million units plus. You can find people who play this game, you know, and you can make a faithful adaptation. And we've seen that when you make a faithful adaptation, or at least something that has the heart of the, so faithful adaptation would be Last of Us, rewarded, right? A faithful adaptation that, or at least has the heart of it, would be Sonic the Hedgehog, rewarded, $100 million plus box office.
The Witcher.
Then ones that don't.
Right. At least the first few seasons of it, yeah.
Right. And then you have, well, it's canceled now. Halo's canceled now. Right. So and then this is what Borderlands. So you've seen both sides of it. If you have either make a faithful adaptation of the game, or you get its essence, and then I would say that with Twisted Metal, I would say that with Sonic, you get rewarded. But if you don't, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I just don't understand why you go forward with an IP, going, this has a built-in fan base, and then not try to pull in that fan base. Doesn't make sense.
Good question. I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to that.
When Huey Boll started talking shit about this movie, you knew it was bad, dude. All right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. Like, I'm with Eric. I'm gonna watch it, and I played this game with Caitlin, my partner. She got me into it, and because you can play, you know, multiple players, and we got into it, and I enjoyed playing with her. I'm just not a gamer, so I was out, you know, fairly soon as well. But I enjoyed my time playing it, and then when the trailer came out, I was like, oh, Caitlin's gonna love this, you know, because it's Borderlands.
Oh, Fallout. Fallout's another one.
Oh yeah,
Fallout was great.
Fallout, rewarded. Right.
Fallout.
So Fallout, pretty faithful to the source material.
Very.
Rewarded.
Yep.
You know, rewarded.
Yeah.
So it's like.
True. Listen to us, Hollywood, and make more money, or keep ignoring us and go down the path that was outlined by Gus to ruin and embarrassment. That is the lesson of today's podcast. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next week. Take care.